This video is sponsored by 1Password. It's been 3 months now using the S23 Ultra on a daily basis and exactly 2 months since I sold my iPhone 14 Pro Max and completely switched to this beauty over here. And spoiler alert, I have zero regrets. There's a lot of questions I'm going to cover in this video. One is, do I miss the iPhone 14 Pro Max? And let's be honest, with so many Apple devices still in my life, how is that ecosystem holding up? But I appreciate that it's not all about Apple. How is the S23 Ultra itself holding up after 3 months? What features have I discovered that really impressed me? And also, what are the things that are not quite perfect yet with this phone? Actually one of the funniest comments that I get these days is, I give this guy 2 months before he switches to his iPhone, or wait until the iPhone 15 and he'll switch back. I find that funny. In fact, where's the microphone? Give me the microphone. Come here. Where? This one. I'm not leaving. Joking aside, let's focus on the S23 Ultra for a bit. When I said in my previous reviews that the S23 Ultra has been a defining moment for smartphones, I wasn't exaggerating. At the time, you could say that I was still in some sort of honeymoon period, but 3 months later, I still think that this is such an incredible phone. And yet, I do believe this raised the bar in the industry. There's the before the S23 Ultra and after for me. Sorry, can you fix this? To put into perspective, right? This is coming from someone who's used iPhones since the very first one. That's right, don't let the cap fool you. I'm old. And I still have lots of Apple products and will probably use iPhones in the future. That's my job, right? But I have no issues in saying this. Samsung absolutely nailed it with this device. It's not perfect, and I'll share some of the issues that I'm having with it in a bit, but it's just the best out there in my opinion when it comes to smartphones. It does suck though if you're an iPhone user, because I know the iPhone is going to be the centerpiece of your ecosystem, but that's the reality and I totally understand that. There's totally a team of people here, by the way. As an iPhone user, you might be tempted by this phone. And I know exactly how you feel. And speaking from experience, it's painful to introduce an Android device to an Apple ecosystem. Hey, no matter how happy I am with this phone and how easy it seems to switch, I do appreciate that switching is a pain in the backside. It's not straightforward, I can't lie about that. It's a shame that it's like that. One day I do hope that we might have a universal ecosystem where things just work, regardless of the brand of the device that you choose. But it's not like that today. There are workarounds, and I've discussed in my previous videos, for example, the compromise that I found to keep my Apple Watch Ultra in sync and getting my notifications and exercise and health tracking. There's an entire video on this subject and I'll discuss that a little bit here, but the bottom line is, there are no shortcuts. For me, I just value the experience on my main device way more than I value the experience or the features of the Apple ecosystem. I just use the S23 Ultra for everything, and I mean that. But let me level with you here. I do miss Airdrop, and sometimes the Apple keyboard as well. This one actually sounds a bit silly, but I do miss the emoji predictions on the iPhone. Samsung or Google haven't really mastered this yet. It works fine on Android, but there are times when I type a word fully expecting the emoji to come up. Either it comes up with the wrong emoji or nothing comes up. It's a minor thing, but Apple just seemed to do a better job at that. Something else, and way more important than silly emojis, is something that I kind of took for granted, which is Find My. But I have a workaround for that, which is similar to the workaround that I found for my watch, and I do miss it. It's not something that you notice straight away, but after 3 months, you do realize that it's something that you took for granted. Having said all that, I don't miss much else, right? I thought I would. And I think that's because I was really forced to switch this time, right? Previously, when I tried this with the S21 Ultra and the S22 Ultra and the Pixels, I hadn't really sold my iPhone 11 or the 12. And even though the main SIM card was on an Android device for a long time, it was always easy to just go back to the iPhone whenever, I faced a challenge or something like that. Actually going through the motions of getting rid of the iPhone has been great, as it, made me discover really how many cool features there are on the S23 Ultra. A word of caution though, those first few days or a couple of weeks even, when I was setting up my banking apps, my password managers, yeah, that was tough. But when I was over that bump, I could just enjoy this device for what it is, and boy, what a beast it is. Before I talk about the stuff that I really like about this phone, one of the things that made the switch less painful was the fact that I was using a password manager. I've used 1Password for about 5 years now, if not more. For full transparency, they are sponsoring today's video, but I think that's great because actually I find it really easy to recommend them. Now, wouldn't it be great if we didn't have to use passwords at all? Well, 1Password is bringing passkeys to the app, which is fantastic news. And what that means is that in the near future, we're not gonna need any passwords. Passkeys uses our biometrics as a way of signing into online services. So wherever you use 1Password, you're gonna be able to use biometric authenticators. That's awesome. Imagine not having to type a password ever again, right? Passkeys would be amazing. 1Password password is already super convenient, but it's great to hear that they're continuing to innovate and making our lives even easier with passkeys. And the best feature for me is how I can keep my family accounts as well, all protected under the same subscription. And when it comes to cybersecurity, I do get quite paranoid about this stuff. I've worked in the IT industry all my life, pretty much, and I've seen on a daily basis how the attacks are constantly happening. You know, it's non-stop. Right now, there are thousands of bots out there just trying to break into systems, and our passwords is just one point of entry, right? But personally, I like to make as hard as possible for anyone to break into anything. And the best part for me is they track cyber attacks as well globally. So, you know, if they detect that, for example, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram or whatever, they got hacked, they will let you know straight away so that you could change your password before you get hacked as well. It's called the Watchtower feature. So even though a company got attacked and it's nothing to do with you, you can still remain protected if you had an account with them. I can't recommend 1Password enough. You know, they're always having some great deals as well. So check out the link in the description afterwards. And thank you so much, 1Password, for sponsoring this video. As I was saying, right, once you get past the first couple of weeks of transition and really start to enjoy the S23 Ultra, the experience for me is just the best right now. You know, I haven't tried every single Android out there, but I think you find it really hard to find another device out there as a whole package that can beat this device right now. Take the cameras for example. It really doesn't matter what I've thrown at this phone, it's been able to cope. From a standard point and shoot sort of photo to using one of my favorite modes ever, which is Expert RAW, it's been amazing. When you go into Expert RAW, what you get is something quite special. Actually, I'm not a photographer and I'm still learning how to frame shots and how to deal with lighting and things like that, but even for someone like me who's an amateur taking photos really, you're able to produce the most stunning results using Expert RAW. You get 50 megapixels to play with, which is great in this mode. So even if you got something wrong, and you can really crop in quite a bit and still retain a lot of the detail. You know, I get lighting wrong all the time, my framing is all over the place. You can also edit the photo in Lightroom straight on the phone, and you could say, well, you can do that on any phone. But not many phones out there will allow you to edit like fine details using a stylus like the S Pen. Honestly, for people who care about their photos on social media and things like that, this really sets you apart. You know, using these unique editing features here and applying your own style to your photos, you know, will make you stand out. And the best thing for me is without even using a computer. Massively underrated feature. At the moment, you have to download the app to make it show up on your camera app, which is fine, but I think Samsung should just include that in the main camera software. There are some small hiccups with this mode though. It's doing a lot of processing, right? So if you're trying to take a lot of pictures really quickly, you may find it a little stuttery, a little bit slow. But remember, we're jamming in so much information into this mode that for me, that little wait between shots is actually quite acceptable. But yeah, if you're trying to take lots of quick shots, you might be better off using a different mode. Now, what about call quality? No one really talks about this on YouTube, right?
I'm good. I'm just looking at that. It's so good, this Riverside. It's been so easy.
Have you uploaded it already, or are you doing that later?
No, I'm working on it this afternoon, so I've just finished writing.
Brilliant, mate. What's the name of the podcast anyway?
What's that?
I just called you. Yeah, I just called you because I'm actually recording a video right now, so I thought that did it. That did it for me. That conversation was all I needed. But since you're here, what's the name of the podcast?
It slips my mind now. Oh, minus something. Minus 16.
Minus 15, minus 16, right? Yeah, okay.
15 or 16, one of the two. I forget now. I don't really spend much time looking at it, to be honest with you.
Awesome, mate.
But, one of the two, you'll find it.
Nice one. Thanks for that. Have a good weekend, fella.
Cheers. Cheers, mate.
Bye. I know it was just a short call, but that's my experience every time. It just works flawlessly. I've actually just got 2 bars of 4G here. You know, not the best in the middle of a field. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I still use my phone a lot as a phone. I call people on it and I receive lots of calls every day. And I also use it a lot for meetings like, you know, Zoom and Microsoft Teams. Regardless of the app that I'm using, the experience here has been faultless. I can't tell you, as a user, how much I think this is underrated. Sometimes it actually drives me mad on YouTube. I just see people like draining the battery for no reason and in a controlled environment. I mean, there is some point in doing that, but I don't know. That's not how people use their phones, right? Honestly, I know it's just a short sample there, but it's been solid. And it's hard not to make a comparison here, but the 14 Pro Max on the exact same network here in the UK was horrible for me. Every now and then I would lose connection. People would say to me that they can't get hold of me, and I was like, well, I've got full signal. Why? Yeah. It was just very inconsistent. iOS 16 updates made no difference. In the end, you know, it was just another reason for me to switch to this phone. By the way, before I continue, this YouTube stuff is really hard. I'm here on my lunch break trying to record this segment. So if you're enjoying this video, a thumbs up would go a long way. Even if you think it doesn't, it really helps me get the channel discovered out there. I'm here once a week with a new down-to-earth tech video for you, so yeah, if you like my stuff, make sure you subscribe as well. But there are a couple of issues on the S23 Ultra that I did find in the last 3 months. One is the camera speed. It's not something that I notice all the time, but it's definitely there. And there's been a few occasions where, I went to take the photo really quickly and there was that hesitance, Hard to explain, hard to show you here in this video because it doesn't happen all the time. In its defense, I never restart my phone, like ever. And I did the same with the iPhone, and I just never rebooted it. And I think sometimes it's probably just a thing of any computing device, right? The memory just starts to clog up or something. A good old reboot always works, closing the apps, Chrome tabs, doing a fresh restart is always good from time to time anyway. The other one is screenshot speed. I don't think that's a term people use, but it's just something that I noticed that sometimes if it's like just a static image, then it's fine. But if you're trying to take a screenshot of a video, I don't know, it takes, I want to say 2 seconds, it's long enough to be noticeable anyway. And if you're not careful, you might think that you took the screenshot, you've seen it take it, and then hours later when you go back to that image, you go, oh, hang on, that wasn't it. Let me know if you've seen that yourself. Maybe it's just a problem with my device, but yeah, I don't know. Another issue that I found, and this one really annoys me, is accessing the quick menu when you're watching content, particularly YouTube. And that's probably happening in other apps as well, but I notice a lot more on YouTube. If I forget to touch the screen before swiping down to get the menu, the device auto rotates the video, and it's like, that is so annoying because then you just swiping down so many times, But Alex, what are you trying to do? Well, sometimes I'm just trying to quickly change the brightness or turn Bluetooth on or off, something like that. But I want the video to stay horizontal, for example, and that swipe down immediately rotates the video, and I don't want to do that. And even then, I don't mind the tapping and then swiping, but you have to tap and then swipe not once, but twice to get the menu. I don't know, 3 months and I still haven't got used to that. It's just not very intuitive. Right, what about the real pain points of switching, right? The main one for me is not so much to do with myself, it's to do with the people around me. My family, my friends, a lot of whom are on iPhones, right? So video calling becomes an issue. FaceTime in my family now requires a laptop or my iPad. Not the end of the world really, and to be fair, for the people that I really care about the most, they've been quite happy to use things like Telegram and WhatsApp to do a video call. The default video calling on Samsung is the Google app, Google Meet I think it's called. I've only used it once or twice at work, almost by accident. It does feel very fast in comparison with Zoom and Microsoft Teams, for example, but it's not as sleek as FaceTime, I gotta be honest. The other pain point of switching is to do with the ecosystem, right? Some of these features I have found a workaround for, some of them I just have to accept it for now that they're just unique to Apple, and that is fine. I mentioned Airdrop before and I mentioned it earlier as well, and I know there are many alternative apps there that you can use. I've covered that before as well. And if you're on Windows, this is not going to be a problem for you. I do have a Windows machine here, but I'm mostly on a Mac. Things do get a little bit complicated between this and a Mac. But the most convenient way I found to transfer images between the S23 Ultra and the Mac was using Google Photos. It's a little bit annoying that Google packages the images into a zip file before you download them, but because I'm on a fairly fast internet connection here, it's straightforward to upload and download, so I'm kind of okay with that for now. On the rare days that I'm using my Windows machine here, maybe I'm doing some gaming or whatever, I do get a nice taste of Airdrop there, either via Bluetooth or linked to Windows. That works really well. But most days I am on a Mac and Airdrop is dearly missed on that for sure. And then there's two main features of the ecosystem for me, which I just had to find a workaround for. One was the Apple Watch Ultra. The other one is Find My Stuff. I really took it for granted, and this feature will be really important for you if you have lots of Apple stuff, right? AirTags and other Apple devices. And even worse, if you have a family account with Apple, for example, with multiple iPads and whatnot. So the workaround I found was to get a cheaper iPhone. There is a cheaper route that I could have used, but in my case, I went with the 13 mini, which is far from perfect. Where is it? There it is. It's over here. I put a skin on it now. But yeah, it's doing exactly what I needed to do, which is to keep my watch in sync and find my AirTags and my keys and stuff like that when I need it, and sending notifications to my watch. I did learn some lessons there, one of which is I should have gone with a bigger phone, I think, maybe a 13 regular or maybe a 12 regular even. Something with a bit more battery, I think. And two, the other lesson that I've learned here was I underestimated how much my iPhone was doing from a general housekeeping perspective. What I mean by that is like banking apps, my passwords, which I mentioned earlier, my reminders, and even my notes app, right? Those things, I didn't realize how important they were until I lost them, basically. Honestly, they're all very mundane apps and very basic in what they do. And they're not fun to use, but those housekeeping apps are so important. So yeah, setting them up again from scratch, finding alternatives on Android, and finding backup codes and things like that. Yeah, luckily, like I said, I used the password manager, so at least that problem was solved, but I can only imagine how hard it would have been if I didn't have those things, right? What about the things that I don't miss? Well, there are many features in the Apple ecosystem that I don't miss at all. Like the music handoff thing between the device, that never works properly for me anyway. It was very inconsistent. My AirPods Pro works beautifully with the S23 Ultra for what I do anyway, and so does the AirPods Max actually. I am really happy with the S23 Ultra right now. I love how this device is now fully integrated into my day-to-day, whether I'm working, creating content, or relaxing. This is truly my everything device. And you may say, Alex, all of the things that you mentioned here today, I can still do on my iPhone. And to that I say that's brilliant, right? I'm only sharing what works for me right now, but I appreciate that this may not work for everybody. I do love that I can use multiple apps on the same display, and I can take advantage of the display by using multitasking features. I love that I can really rely on the camera even for videos now, which has never been the case for me with Android phones. And this device actually feels nice to hold and use for a long time as well. You might not care about any of that, and I get you. I've met a lot of people here who are on the other side of the switch as well, right? You know, they've been using Android for a long time and they want something different. So iOS may actually feel very refreshing to them. In fact, there's been some research recently that the number of people moving from Android to Apple is increasing. So I need to dig into that data a little bit more to understand it, but yeah, people do go both ways, right? I mean, they'll be bored very quickly and go back to Android, but you know, I think it's important to keep an open mind with this stuff and find a setup that works for you. Doesn't matter what I say or anyone on YouTube says, because your situation will be different. I just hope that sharing my experience here helps you, and if you're going through the same thing, you know, that I hope that is useful. Will I ever go back to an iPhone? As a tech reviewer, I will definitely be reviewing iPhones, like the iPhone 15 for example. I'll probably try one of those. But as a consumer, unless they do something very drastic, I find it unlikely. You know, this thing does everything I need it to do. And this may surprise you. The main reason I don't see myself going to an iPhone is not because of Samsung or any Android device actually. I think using a smartphone will become a thing of the past soon. Hopefully very soon. It will depend heavily on how much technology changes in the next few years, and Apple, whether we like it or not, seem to be on the front foot on that aspect. But until then, I'm really happy here with the S23 Ultra. I'm really looking forward to the Galaxy Z Fold 5. Not that excited about the Pixel Fold if I'm really honest, although I might take a look at it anyway. But as you've seen in this video today, there are quite a few issues in switching. It's not straightforward. It's definitely a tricky process to go through, but this device made that switch worthwhile for me. I cover a lot more of the nitty-gritty of switching in this video over here, and if you've seen that one already, I've also got these options here for you. I hope to see you soon.